Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I have another layout using the July Scraptastic kit, and this is the 18th layout using this kit. It took 38 minutes to complete, and I'm showing you some of the pattern papers that I might be using, and the one I'm going to use as the background is from Fancy Pants, and I absolutely love that chevron pattern paper, the green pattern paper. And I'm going to cut down the photos to about, I would say, I left it at the 6 inches, and then I cut it down to about 3 inches, maybe 3¼ inches, using my cutter. And that cutter is from Creative Memories. I want to say Making Memories, but no, Creative Memories. And they don't sell, I think they restarted the company, but that cutter is not for sale anymore. But sometimes you can find it on eBay. I've had mine for over 10 years. I think it's like 13 years, and it still cuts through like butter. Like, I absolutely love that cutter. So I mounted the photos on some black cardstock, and now I'm cutting out some of the flower die cuts that I cut apart from a pattern paper. And I believe the pattern paper is also a Fancy Pants pattern paper. I believe it's either Fancy Pants or My Mind's Eye. By the time I get to the 18th layout, I don't remember who made what paper, because at some point I'm down to my scraps. Like, I'm just using little bits and pieces of pattern paper. So I don't really remember, but I always do share a kit, and I'll put the month that I shared, and also I do a paper selection, so you can see what papers are included in the kit. So what I did was, for this layout, basically, I wanted to use a whole bunch of die cuts that came in the kit. And once I started separating it to see, because this is the 18th layout, so we're winding down to the end, I noticed that there was a lot of die cuts that were, that bold black with the flowers, the bright flowers, and there was quite a collection of them. So I pulled them all out, and then I said, okay, well, what pattern papers could I put this with? And then I realized that it would go really well with that Fancy Pants background, because it would really make that black pop from those die cuts. And also there's green in it too. So I'm going to use that. And then one of the die cuts also said thank you, and with the story, you'll see of the photos, you'll see why the thank you is on there. So I used a leftover of that POW glitter paper from American Craft, and there was just a strip, and I put it to the right of the pattern paper. And now I'm just clustering the embellishments around the pattern paper, or around the photo, sorry, and just seeing, how many clusters I'm going to get done. So I end up doing a cluster at the bottom right, then I'm going to do a cluster right there to the left, and also I'm going to attach the title to that, which I forget to turn the camera back on for that, but it's going to say kindness, and I'm going to use the gold alphas that came in the kit. And then the top one says stop and smell the roses, and that's how I feel, when you're on vacation. You're just so chill, and you just take your time, and everything is awesome. Even sometimes, getting lost is an adventure, because we get to see stuff that we wouldn't have seen before, or sometimes, and that happens quite a bit on the I-95, you're not moving, you're stuck in traffic, and then you get rerouted, and then you find a little town that is just super cute that you never would have seen if that wouldn't have happened. So, in the moment, we're like, oh my goodness, we've been basically, it took us 3 hours to do 2 miles, and really 2 miles would take you 2 minutes. And, but then when that happens, we're like, oh, this was so worth it. This was so cute. So that's what the stop and smell the roses was all about. And then there's another die cut that says your reason to smile and the best of days. And I just created a few clusters. So now while I'm playing with the clusters and stuff, I'm just going to talk about the photos. I cut them down, like I said, to about 3.5 by 6, mounted it on black cardstock. But the photos are of when in the States, there's a lot of tolls. And so I always take pictures of us arriving at the tolls. And so I took a picture of arriving at the toll and stuff. And then when we got at the toll, the guy, when we got up there, the guy had a big smile on his face and he said, "Oh, you're good. The lady in front of you paid for you." And we're like, "What? Oh my goodness, that was so sweet." So anyway, we just said, "Thank you." And we just kind of kept on driving. So I just, wanted to journal about that. And that always happens every time we go to the States and we get to a toll. And I'm not saying every toll, but every vacation, when we get to one of the tolls, somebody has paid for us. And we're like, that is so sweet. And so the title of this page is going to be kindness. And it just reminded, it just kind of makes you think in a world that, every day, and I don't listen to the news, and people always kind of laugh when they know that about me, because they go, "But then you work at 911, like you hear bad news every day." Yes, but then I'm there to try to and help, The bad news that you see on the news, it's just bad news, and it just brings me down. Like I can't watch it. But anyway, with all the bad stuff that happens in the world, there is still a ton of sweet and kind people out there. And I just wanted to journal about that. And the States, I have to say, I have never been across the world, so I can't really say anything about the other side of my world. You know what I mean? It's on my bucket list. I totally want to do. But I've done all my traveling on this side, like I've been to Mexico and a lot of the States, and I've been to Cuba and Bermuda, and but it's all on this side. I've never crossed over the ocean, which, like I said, it is my goal. But the people, and USA, we say it's our American friends, we're in the States almost every year because we just love it. Last year we didn't go, and oh man, we were so upset. We said we should have went, But anyway, so I just wanted to journal that people are so sweet. And then I added some twine to the layout, and I'm going to add some India ink, and that's just going to help with, the boldness. There was some arrows from the My Mind's Eye, and they're like enamel arrows, and I used them on the page. There was a die cut that was a feather, and I just kind of colored it in yellow. And then I'm going to take some Prima ink, and I'm just going to make it sort of dirty because it was too yellow. It was kind of right there in your face. So I wanted to tone it down. And I added some enamel dots from the kit, and also some arrows, stars that came from the kit. And this is where I kind of dirty up the feather. So I think that's about it. Oh, one thing about India ink, it's really potent, and boom, it went right through my pattern paper. And you know how I'm like, my my mat, I don't want it dirty. So I took this cleaner that I have, and that cleaner is good if you, like there, it happened right away, and you just clean it right away. You don't try to remove older stains, it doesn't work. But it's from Scrap Perfect, I think, but it's called the best cleaner ever. It's okay, it's not the best cleaner ever, but if you clean it right away, it's all good. It'll take it, it'll take the ink off your mat and stuff. So I also took a Tri Plus fine liner, and I outlined all the layout. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I did. And that pretty much wraps up the layout. If you want to see more close-ups, you can join me on my blog, and the link is in the description. And also, I have a Facebook group where we share all our layouts, and there's a bunch of ladies that share their YouTube videos on there too. So the link is also in the description. And if you enjoy this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, just to let YouTube know that you enjoyed the video. So thanks for watching. Bye.